Well, we are live. Welcome to Passive Prospecting YouTube for Real Estate. And we are going to be here discussing your questions. So remember, we are here for you. That's why we show up pretty much every week. No, we're here every week. But also wanted to bring to light, you can see, you think I'd figure this out by now. Passive Prospecting Book 3/7/23, March 7th. In less than 2 weeks. And look at this. Look at this bad boy right there. Oh my goodness. It is. Look at how thick that is. All right. First of all, so I got the advanced copy here. And this is the paperback, though. Of course, we have hardcover, but the fastest they could do is send me the paperback, which I'm showing you here. Look at this, 228 pages of YouTube goodness right there. And I tell you what, it's something I joke around about, but I've always wanted to write a book. And my biggest fear was just it not being thick enough, and I didn't ever want to write a 50-page book or a 70-page book or anything like that. I was like, if I write a book, I really want it to have substance, to take up some space on that bookshelf. And here you go. Passive prospecting, dominate your market without cold calling, chasing clients, or spending money on ads. Forward by Ryan Serhant. Not sure if you can see that. Get my face out of it so it gets into focus. Oh, there you go. Passive prospecting. Boom. So that's the paperback right there. And 3/7, March 7th. So remember, we're going to be going live in our Facebook group on March 7th. So if you're not in our Facebook group, just look up Passive Prospecting. I'll be going live in there all day. We'll be doing a ton of contests, a ton of giveaways, and signed copies, autographed copies. All we're asking is you buy the ebook for $1.99, leave a 5-star review on Amazon, send us a screenshot. We'll be good to go. All right. So very excited about that. Let me see if I can I'm just going to maybe prop this up here during today's broadcast. I'll move that right out of the way. Today's broadcast. And I'll bring into the mix Krissy.
Hello. I always need to back up.
Yeah, you got to scoot back. I like the full screen, although Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I like the full screen. So there we go. Oh, if we go there, then you can see the whole Passive Prospecting Book 3/7/23, and you've got passiveprospecting.com on there. I like it. It. Oh, Gwyneth, what's up, Gwyneth? That's right. Woohoo! Book is looking great. That's right. And Gwyneth says hello. For those of you that have not met Gwyneth yet, Gwyneth is our client care manager, and she's awesome, absolutely amazing. Maybe we should get her on one of these calls.
Totally. She should come on with us one of these times for sure.
She would like to, jib the jab, shoot the breeze. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
So we're here. We're here for you. And I see several of you out there already. So first of all, appreciate y'all joining us today. Make sure you start hitting us up with questions, anything that we can help you out with. And also, we'll hang out. We'll hang out for the time being, see what we can help out. Oh, Krissy, I think you dropped in the private chat.
I put it in both.
Oh, did you?
Oh, wait a second.
No, you put it in the private.
I copied it. There we go.
There you go.
My intention was to put it in both. I had it copied, just not pasted.
Drop your comment and make sure you give us a thumbs up, right? Make sure you give us a thumbs up. And let's see. All right. We got we got several of you out there already. Explore Virginia. Sounds very intriguing, right? Explore Virginia. So let's see. Would you share how you research an area before you go out to record? Well, I mean, I really don't research areas just because I've been in Dallas for 20 plus years. So, I mean, if I'm going to go out to record, oh, hello. Thank you. All right. I got iced Americano delivery. Very nice. And I like my iced Americano. Delicious. Yeah. So how do I research? Yeah. I mean, because I've lived in Dallas for so long. I mean, I know the areas. Whenever I go out, that's not typically how I research. Because I know my areas. Maybe I look up some stats. I may just go on to, you could go to, let's say Frisco. This happens in most cities that I know of. You can type in like visitfrisco.com, visitplano.com, or type in visit in your city and see if there's a website, or, just Google your city. And there's usually a city or a government website for the city, right? Usually the city government has a website, and they have a lot of good stats and data on there. So if you're going to an area that you're just not as familiar with, then that's what I would do. I would, maybe just go to a couple of websites, check out some stats and data, and get some pointers. But otherwise, you should have a good idea, hopefully, if this is in your neighborhood and you're covering mostly neighborhoods that you're familiar with, you've likely had some experience or some dealings in there, or growing up, or friends that live there, anything like that. And if you got friends that live in the area, give them a call when you're driving out there to get their viewpoint or their perspective or something like that. So I think anything like that, if you're going to go out and film a neighborhood. Otherwise, I'm looking online on the apps. I'll check out Zillow or something. Just check out home, the homes, the price points. So I kind of map that out. I do a lot of that on the fly, but we really go into depth in that quite a bit, in our program, in our passive prospecting program, to really get into the nitty gritty of all that. But overall, the basic overview is just, if you need some stats and data, find out one of the city government websites that has plenty of it, or you can go to census.gov. I believe census.gov has stats on it. Niche.com probably has stats on that stuff. And but I don't really get into a ton of stats either. Maybe I mentioned the population and the amount of homeowners and the median income or things like that, but that's about the extent of it. Otherwise, I'm going through and chatting it up, talking about the neighborhood and the area and what I like, things to do, places to eat, the community, sense of community, schools, just kind of give the whole overview of what's going on there. And that's why I like doing vlogs and outdoor videos so much, is because I don't really spend a lot of time researching them. Now, the videos that I do in the office, like a pros and the cons, or on Sunday, I recorded an hour-long video, and I know that's going to scare the crap out of a lot of you, but it was the 18 things that we love about Dallas. So 18 things, that's a pretty extensive list. You think about it, you speak on 3 minutes on 18 topics, that's 60 minutes right there. So that's probably what I tried to do. I didn't time out each segment, but I really just tried to give a very high overview of 18 different topics. And I had a list, I found a list. It was longer. I took a couple of things off, and then I changed up, there was some information in there, but I found a list online, and I thought, oh, that'd be a good video. Plus I knew it would be a little bit of a longer video. I wasn't expecting it to be an hour, but when I finished recording, it was an hour. But I just looked at each bullet point. Actually, I still have, I was talking about this last week, like my notebook, how it's all written down. Make sure I don't have anything pertinent on there, but here I'll cover up some of my other notes. But there's 1, 2, actually right there, there's 1 through 18. So I made little check marks of, to keep track of, number 1. I'd be like, so here's the number 1, or here's the number 1 thing. And now that I think about it, I probably should have went 18 to number 1, but I didn't. I went 1 to 18. So, but I ticked it off, so that way every time I would start, I'd say, okay, the 3rd thing that we love about Dallas, the 4th thing, the 5th thing, and otherwise I'd lose track of which number I was on. So I just made little tick marks. But otherwise, I had the list pulled up on my side monitor, and then I had my tick marks to just go tick through there. But 3 minutes on 18 different topics, that's going to put you right about an hour. And it was really that simple. Not simple for the editor, but for me, wasn't that bad. But I just went through and talked about every little thing there. So that's kind of my process for outside. You got all those websites you can go check out, and and do a little bit of research. But otherwise, I don't spend a lot of time on that. Although we are looking for an executive producer / assistant, a position in our company right now for me. So this is somebody that is going to help me curate. They're more like a content curator, I would say. I'm looking for somebody to really focus on my pre-production and post-production. I can handle the production part, but the pre-production, post-production, scheduling, making sure everything runs on time, also providing content, doing a little bit of that research for the office videos, those types of things, making sure everything's edited, uploaded, correct. Those are the types of things I'm looking for. So I'm looking for a content curator / executive producer right now. So if anybody out there watching right now is looking for something like that and you're in the Dallas area, then I guess it could be a virtual position. So I don't know. We'd have to explore that. You'd have to really be on top of it. That's the thing. And so, ideally somebody who's around Dallas would have a nice touch to that, but let me see. So, okay. I was trying to figure out, do I need to post this publicly? I don't know. I see different things in there. I didn't know. Hand pink waving. So I guess maybe there's supposed to be an emoji there.
Emoji, probably, yeah.
Okay, so I was like, where is this comment going? Okay, hand pink waving. Well, hello. I guess I'm more peach. I don't know, maybe pink. My videos have the black on each side when on desktop, but we record with the phone sideways. Any idea what I'm doing wrong? Thank you.
A couple of places you can check on that. Number one, check your sequence settings on whatever editing platform you're using. If you're using Premiere Pro, sequence settings is exactly what it says. Just make sure that it's 1920 by 1080 when you're editing, because sometimes it defaults and does 720 by 480 or some weird resolution or something that's way too small, so it has to blow it up, and then it obviously doesn't fit in there. When it's proportional, it doesn't always make a huge difference, but I would check there. And then the second thing I would check is just actually check your video settings and make sure that, the resolution is still that 1920 by 1080. The other thing to keep in mind is if you are watching it on a desktop application, something like a Windows Media Player or something like that, it's going to show black on either side no matter what. So you want to check that on YouTube to make sure that it's actually translating like that on YouTube, because Windows Media Player will add, and I'm sure some of the Mac programs do the same thing where they'll add the black on either side, even if it's full width and full scale. So I would check those 3 places and see what you find.
Yeah. Oh, and then, because I wouldn't even know how to answer that because I've never had that issue. I guess because our editing team can catch that, right?
Yeah.
So, I was just thinking, now that I'm looking at our little frame here, Krissy, I was going to say we should move passive prospecting up, the logo up, because like whenever I bring on comments, it covers it up. But we should really, we should create something that says, maybe with a picture of the book and passive prospecting, book March 7th.
Yeah, sure.
Which would only be valid for next week, but
right. Hey, might as well.
Actually, wait a second. Well, let's just put up there passive prospecting. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. Let's get a nice little picture of the book up there and passive prospecting, and let's see if we can market ourselves a little bit better. Always trying
every platform, any place we can throw it up.
Yeah, there you go. I was just thinking, when we bring up a comment there, we cover it up down there, but otherwise, we want to focus on this right here, the book coming out March 7th, 227, is it 220? Yeah, 227 pages of YouTube goodness right there. Oh my goodness. It's like a YouTube dessert. Yep. YouTube dessert right there. I need to I haven't even had a chance to make a reel today, but I'm going to make a reel. I was going to make a reel every day until launch day. So, because I'll have to make a couple, but there's 15 chapters, right? So I was going to do a reel on each chapter up until the launch. 14 chapters. Okay, so good. I should be right on time then for a chapter a day reel. Living in Denton, Texas. Oh, what's up? Hey, y'all. Does the editing team help you create your 4-second intro as far as adding music? Yes. Yes, they do. Absolutely. Is that Jenny? Is that Jenny? I think that's Jenny. Yep, they sure will. Absolutely. And what's up? Oh, Missy. What's up, Missy? And Fabio. Fabio, the best dressed man in real estate. Fabio and I both wear glasses, and is there some tricks for not having circles in our glasses? Yeah, you'll notice. Well, these are just blue blockers, so I don't wear glasses. But let me see. There's supposed to be. You just have to get non-reflective frames. As far as I know, they do make non-reflective frames, so you might want to check with your eye doctor or wherever you buy your glasses at, and ask them if they have, I'm assuming if you're wearing glasses, you have a prescription. And so if you have a prescription, to see if they can make that in non-reflective glasses. I think that's as far as I know. I just know that because Travis would wear some glasses on our filming day sometimes, and Alex would get on to him about that. He'd be like, dude, you got to buy the non-reflective glasses because and he's like, okay, fine. So Travis had to buy non-reflective glasses. So that's the extent of my knowledge on that. I'm not sure if I would assume they're available in prescription as well, but these are blue blockers. Since I sit here, a good part of my day in front of the computer, I think these do really help. I mean, quite a bit. So I'm surprised you don't have any, Krissy.
My contacts have a blue filter on them.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I do have blue block glasses though for when I don't wear my contacts. So I do have them. Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen them once or twice, maybe.
Once or twice. Yeah, I've had a couple times that I've run out of contacts. That's the only time I really wear them. I don't really like wearing them.
Can you Google that real quick and see if they make prescription non-reflective glasses?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually just got some for my daughters. So yeah, they use them for their screens.
Well, you could have chipped in there, just letting me.
Hey, you know what? I just wanted you to take the stage for that one. So
okay. Let's see. Explore Central Virginia. All right. Oh, I see a theme going here. I plan to buy your book on Amazon. Awesome. How much is your course? Well, the course is you can, first of all, there's a video that leads up to that. We'll always ask people to watch the video first because that's going to help really give you an extensive overview of everything. Then you can make a decision from there. So that is, I believe that's in the description of the video. Mm-hmm. So, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So if you look at the link in our description, it says discover how we made 100K in 100 days. Click on that link, or it may say 1 million our first year. I forgot which one we have on there. So one of those should be one of the links in our description. Click on that. It'll take you to, to our video that you can watch to give you an extensive overview of everything, especially detailing the journey and our successes, failures, things like that. And then at the end, you'll have an option to go from there. So, but thank you. Yes. Thank you. The book on Amazon. It's up on Amazon right now, but it's not available for order. We're not collecting pre-sales. We want to get as many sales as possible on launch day, March 7th. Okay. So, but I think you can put it on like your watch list. Living in San Diego. Hello. Good morning from San Diego. Man, look at that picture. I will say, San Diego, just a little bit of advice. I'm thinking at your picture right now. It looks super cool, but it does make your head a little bit smaller. I'm not sure how that looks on your channel. So it might just be something you want to be mindful of. Like I like the colors and I like the look. It's very attention grabbing, but at the same time, it makes your face, a lot smaller, a little bit more difficult to make out. And really, in these spaces, I look at, this should be her YouTube photo, like Explore Central Virginia. Even I would zoom in even for you. I'm not sure your name. So I would zoom in just a little bit more. Jenny had a good one. I mean, Jenny, you can see a little bit better, but also I'm on the screen too. So that does shrink it up a little bit, but but just be mindful of the borders. Actually, maybe it does show up better. Maybe it's just on here. I'd have to check out the channel, but just take a look at it if it's concerning. Let's see. Real Estate by Carolyn. All right. I'm assuming her name's Carolyn then. Let's see. Levi, do you recommend using a teleprompter? I use it to show my videos in Big View. Is that do you know what Big View is? Is that
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
App. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is either. But I mean, to answer your question, no, I do not use a teleprompter. I do not. The only time I've used a teleprompter is when we filmed a 6-minute ad. So we did an ad not for our real estate channel. We did it for passive prospecting, but we had a company write specific ad copy, and that's what we use a teleprompter for. So something like that, I'm just not going to memorize, and I'm not going to know either. And we just followed along with that. So I don't use a teleprompter because I do like the natural format. I do just, being free flowing. Plus it really cuts down on your research time. Unless you have somebody else writing out your scripts, that is a lot. I mean, you might as well become a writer at that point, because you're going to have to write everything out and then put it in the teleprompter. And one of the funniest things to do, because I would film, anytime I use a teleprompter is with Travis, because we had to go back and forth on a script, is you have to figure out the speed. And that would take us like 10 takes, maybe 15 takes, because we would start talking and it'd go too fast or it'd go too slow, or we would talk too fast, or it's just, it's funny. So if you're doing it with somebody else, it really makes it challenging. If you're doing it by yourself, then once you figure out your speed, you'd be able to set it. But otherwise, I just think for research time, it's not ideal. It's a lot. And if you're not really experienced, I mean, newscasters are like the best teleprompter readers on the planet, but they've been practicing that. And so most people, when they start out, they're already a little uncomfortable on video, and then you add in a teleprompter and they will make it very, very noticeable that it's a teleprompter, which, I'm not saying will keep you from getting business, but it's a little dry, it's a little dry. And so I think bullet points, and hopefully, your market, your area. I mean, if you go out with a client, as far as I know, none of us are taking teleprompters with clients, right? So if a client asks you a question or asks you about an area, you're going to speak to them from your heart, from your experience, from your knowledge, from everything that you've done in that area or lived, or maybe that you've heard from somebody else or talked to somebody else or had clients give you feedback. And we just feel like that's a much better flow in the conversation, because you want the conversation to flow on the camera, because that's where you'll develop the biggest connection with people, is by just, really working on having a conversation with the camera. And that to me is the best skill set you can do, is to become friends with your camera and mainly become friends with your camera lens. So even though, like right now, whenever you see me look down, it's because I'm looking at Krissy or I'm reading the question. But if I did that this whole time, you've been on Zoom calls, right? And the speaker is looking off to the side or like this the whole time. And the way I just believe you don't really have a true connection. That's why whenever I'm on these calls, I'm looking at the camera, even though I can see movement down here and people are down here, I'm still looking at that camera, so that whenever I'm talking to you right now, even like a hat right now, like a hat, maybe even the glasses, if I take that off and you're able to just, fixate on my eyes a little bit more, it just creates a little bit more of that connection. And whenever I'm talking, you probably feel like I'm just talking directly to you, which I am. Just know that there's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 1,000, 10,000 people on the other side of that camera. But the more you can individualize the experience for that one viewer, it's going to make them feel a lot better. So that's why I always look at the camera, even though I'm seeing a lot of movement, except here on this call, whenever I'm looking at channels or reviews. I typically don't wear hats in my videos, things like that. I do it on here just because, I know you guys. So I know a lot of you, and we're already homies, so we're friends, and that's good. And sometimes I just don't feel like fixing my hair, so that's the other reason. But if I'm going to make a video on the channel, it's likely going to be without a hat because I don't want any interruption. Some people only wear hats too. I don't know that, that's like their thing. So some people only wear hats but they're the hat person, that's the thing. But I don't use a teleprompter is basically what I'm saying. So
and I kind of feel like too with a teleprompter, if you feel like you need to use a teleprompter, it's because you're very uncomfortable with being on camera and you feel like you're going to mess up. And I think that that's a really big opportunity for you to work through some of the major mistakes at the very beginning of your channel, especially is just by going off the cuff and trying to find your authentic flow, because people, and we talked about this, a little bit on our Clubhouse call this week, people can read that authenticity through the screen. It's very apparent. And so if you're uncomfortable and you feel like you're reading everything, I mean, you even think about the news, going back to your example, Levi, of the newscaster. Newscasters have a news voice, right? Like, they're in news mode, even when they're reading the teleprompter. There's people who make TikToks about what their news voice is and what their real voice is, right? It's not technically their authentic voice. They're in a space where that's acceptable and that's expected. And so it works for them, but it's not really super authentic to who they are as a person. So if you want to communicate your authentic voice through the screen, it's so much better to just go through it and try to do it off the cuff as much as possible. That's why we don't really offer a lot of scripts inside of the course. We have scripts, kind of outlines rather, for the beginning of the video, especially where you're hooking people. And we want to kind of guide you there. But from there, we really say, okay, talk about your area, talk about these things. I would say that a good alternative to maybe using the teleprompter and still having a little bit of structure, because I know it's not super easy for a lot of people to be on camera, especially at the very beginning, is to bring a set of notes with you, some bullet points for you to go off. You can stop anytime that you want in your clip because your editor is going to cut those stops out for you. They're going to cut the mistakes out. I do reels, I do videos and trainings all the time, and I still have to stop and I have to cut out a bunch of stuff when I do things too. So I think even, if you have to stop, if you have to kind of look down at your notes, that's totally okay. I wouldn't be afraid to do that, but I think that it's going to be a lot more authentic and come off a lot better to your audience and make you more approachable if you're doing something that's not so strict and stringent and structured. So that's why I kind of don't like the teleprompter. I've done a lot of videos for a lot of people with teleprompters, and 99% of the time it's very stiff. So I would stay away from them too.
There you go. And let me see. Oh, next week I'm recording the Audible for this as well.
Toot, toot.
It just popped up on my calendar. 2 days. Ooh, 12 hours. 12 hours. They give you the option, because with our publisher, they're like, look, we can either have a professional reader, I don't know what you call them, a professional reader, or you can read it yourself. And for me, anytime I listen to an audiobook, when it's in the author's voice, it's just, it's a 100x for me. It's just such a bigger connection. I love hearing their voice. Because going back to that professional reader, right? That newscaster, you get those people in there.
Yeah.
They're just perfect. It's just kind of so dry, to me, but the author really brings that. But I was telling Emily, cause she was worried about blocking off 2 days on my calendar, It's like, how are we going to make that work? I'm like, well, the thing is that 12 hours of my life is worth it, in my opinion, for something that will live on for a very, very long time. And if that's an opportunity, of course, my voice and presence is recorded on all these videos, but still, that could be somebody's first exposure to the book is through an audiobook. And so that could be a connection point with them. So I don't know, but still, I've always enjoyed that myself. I'm a very good consumer, which is why I have a really a good understanding of how I want to produce, because I do consume a lot. And there's things I like, things I don't like, things that I would do differently. And that's the idea. Just the same thing with on these videos. We're producing, but you've got to take what we have and really adapt it to fit yourself and what works for you. So I always feel like I'm slouching. I need to work on my posture. I'm always just kind of like hunched over. Let me see here. That's probably because I have my laptop down here. I probably need to just.
I do that too. I always forget to lift up my desk. Today I did it. So.
Oh, mine's just fixed. So, anyways, suburbs of Sacramento. And if you don't mind, please tag your name in there too. Like after your question, if you are suburbs or living in San Diego or explore Central Virginia, I mean, I would love to know y'all's name. So if you don't mind, just please include your name afterwards. That way, I don't feel like I'm just talking to all the suburbs in Sacramento. But suburbs of Sacramento says, "Hi, did you do a 50-50 commission split with Travis as a partner? What is the fair commission split, and should it be different than a typical referral fee if you're providing a lot of work?" All right, good question. So nuts and bolts of this is when I started out, Travis wasn't the first person I started with, and I started with three different agents. All right, so imagine that. Imagine if you're one of those three agents, right? But because it didn't work out. But the thing is that I did that to test. I knew from the beginning, I was prepared to do everything myself, although I didn't want to do that. But at the same time, I wanted to find a good referral partner. I also was looking for a partner. I thought, you know what? I just knew from the beginning I wanted to find a partner because I really did want to focus on video and content as much as possible. And if somebody else could take up the transactional side, that's what I was looking for. And so 3 people that I started out with testing to give out referrals, that's how I wanted to test them. That's the great thing about real estate is you can give out a referral, and if that agent screws it up, you know, you're likely probably not going to work with them anymore, right? If they do a really good job, then you'll want to refer business to them in the future. Now, typical real estate referrals fall between 25-30%, but how often are you getting referrals from one person? Maybe you get 1 per year. Maybe 2 if you're lucky from one individual. So that's why a 25 or 30% referral is standard. So for me, I saw this would go into a multiple referral situation. So with each of the agents, I was like, look, I will start getting some leads soon. And once I start getting leads, if I just give them straight to you, I want to do a 50-50 referral. I want to do a 50-50 split. Now, a couple of them, one of them was like, okay, cool. 2 of them were like, oh, no, man, typical real estate commission or referral is 30%. You know, that's what I want. I was like, well, yeah, that's maybe for 1 deal a year. I was like, I'm not planning on that. I plan to give you 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 deals. And so I want a 50-50. And if we, you know, really work well together, then I'm sure there's going to be a lot more than that. And one of them, 2 of them were kind of like, okay. One of them really gave me a lot of pushback, you know, wanted to do 70-30. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And then they were like, so one agent wanted to do 60-40. He's like, well, I'm doing all the work. And I said, well, I'm doing all the work, right? I'm creating all the content. I'm bringing the person into the mix. So immediately with that person, there was back and forth. And so I figured, okay, it's probably not going to work out, but I knew they were a good agent. So I still wanted to explore that. And I think even we got to 60-40, like they wanted to do 60-40. And I thought, all right, you know what? I'll try that. Let me do a couple of transactions and see how it works. And so I negotiated 50-50 with the other 2 agents, 60-40 with that agent, 40 going to me. And I thought, well, hey, as long as I don't have to open a door, then that'll probably work. And sure enough, those 3 agents really didn't take long. A couple of transactions, it just started to not go well after we got into like the 2nd to 3rd transaction. And I just found that it was not going to be a good fit probably for me. And then, you know, Travis came around at the exact same time. And then, you know, I said, Travis, I want to do a 50-50. And Travis was like, absolutely. Amazing. You know, no problem. I'll do that. And then he was like, well, just give them all to me. And I was like, well, you know, I got a couple of other people. You know, he's like, okay, cool. So anyways, he started closing more deals, was more communicative, a lot more responsive. And we just worked better together. And, the others just really, it kind of started to turn into more work than it was fun. With Travis, it was getting fun, you know, we were having a good time. and we're very similar, but we also have very distinctive strengths that are different and opposite. So overall, you know, we work dated for about 6 to 8 months before we made anything official on paper. But that's the great thing about real estate. You don't have to get married to somebody right away. You don't have to partner up and start an LLC and do all that stuff. You know, give them referrals, work out a deal. First of all, if they know they're going to get multiple referrals from you, anybody should be willing to do a 50-50. If you start a team or bring on a buyer's agent, you can easily do 50-50. And then if you work well together for, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, then maybe you consider partnering up. But if things hit the fan and start to fall apart after 2, 3 transactions, guess what? You're not legally obligated to anybody except on a per transaction basis. So it makes it very easy not to give a transaction to the next person. Yep, it's really that simple. So yeah, I mean, I would talk those things through and see who you want to end up working with in the end. All right. Living in San Diego, California. Can I interview you via Zoom for my channel, asking you questions about San Diegans? Is that what they call them? San Diegans? Moving to Dallas. Yeah, let's do it. We actually had Juan Alcala. I never know how to say it. Same thing with my last name, right? Juan Alcala. And yes, you can. Hold on. I have to take this really quick. Krissy, take over. Answer the next one.
Okay. All right, let's see. Can editing do shorts for an extra charge? We are working on that. We haven't officially launched our short service, but that is coming hopefully in the next 1 to 2 months. We'll be able to offer that. So just stay tuned for that. We definitely will be offering a service for it.
Hey, I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Oh, what's up, Sterling? What's up, Sterling? Good to see you.
We just chatted yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Just grab.
Yep. I will let Levi answer that question because he's going to be better at the actual buyer qualification process. So we'll come back to you, Sterling. I'm better on the marketing side and he's better on the real estate side. So how to target people moving from California. Well, there's a couple of different ways to do that. Now, the first thing that I would do is do some keyword research. And so you can do that in a couple of different places. You can go to TubeBuddy and do that, or you can also go to Google Analytics as well. And Google Analytics, you do have a few demographic choices that you can use. So you can choose to do it by location. You can target people by, you can look up a lot of demographic information on Google Analytics. And so I would probably start there and just see, locally what people are kind of searching for if you're specifically looking for Californians. But as soon as you find that out, then I would just start making content around some of those topics. And that's probably the best way to start out. I always start at the keyword research. Definitely don't do any targeted ads or anything like that. You'll probably, in fact, it's actually so funny because me and Levi, we were looking through a couple of channels yesterday doing some research for topics for the Living in Dallas channel. And we came across a couple of channels that, were doing some of the things we were considering maybe testing out. And we noticed that they had like hundreds of thousands of views, but then they had like 20 comments. And so we started looking at their comment section and it was all bots. Like every single question was bought. So that they paid for those ads or they paid for those videos to get the views. So definitely don't use ads. Generally speaking, especially for a local niche, you're not going to get good traffic. It's going to target the wrong audience and it can tank your channel if you do the wrong audience. So let's see. What was the editing software you mentioned? Well, our team uses Premiere Pro. So that's the one that we recommend using. It is a little bit it's a little bit complicated if you've never worked in it before. It is a learning curve for sure if you've never worked with a really in-depth editing program. But it's definitely very all-inclusive. It comes with all the bells and whistles. So yeah, that's the one that our team uses is Premiere Pro. We'll go back to Sterling's question for you, Levi, because he had something to do with the buyer qualification process, which I have no clue. So
okay. Cool. Congrats on the grand opening of the book. Thank you. Thank you, Sterling. Very exciting. Yes. Could you briefly touch high level on your buyer qualification process? Well, yeah, that's a good question.
Well, we did do the survey. I mean, the survey is part of that.
Yeah, I was just thinking, yeah, if they get approved, they're qualified, right? So we run them through. We try to, we tell them, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or schedule a Zoom call. That's the call to action. What we find is what is interesting is it's about a good mix of almost 25%. I would say almost 50% text or email, 25% call, and about 25% scheduled Zoom calls. At least that's what we've seen in our numbers. So it's a pretty good mix. And I think that tells a lot about the person, how they like to communicate. But if they call or text or email, we try to get them to a Zoom call. And the Zoom call is really just to have a conversation. I mean, we don't have a formal buying process, except for at the end, if one of our team members is handling that, we have them ask, based on our conversation, do you feel comfortable, working with the Living in Dallas, Texas team, And so it's kind of like just that solidification of the, working together. But otherwise, if they go through the survey, if they schedule a Zoom, they're going to go through a survey. If they call us, we do have a call center 24/7 because we get calls at random times. And also agents are out in the field. The call center answers the call every single time, regardless, 24/7. So we always want them to speak to somebody live, and then they'll ask them 4 qualification questions, which is, are you buying or selling? Are you planning to buy or sell? They speak one of those, and then they branch off. And, if they're buying, okay, what's your there it is. Finally, I was like, I got like a hair stuck on my ear or something.
I hate it when that happens. Yeah. I always get it like on top of my nose too. And then it's just awkward. You can't like wipe it off on camera. So I suffer with it through the whole call.
Yeah. So, yep. So then they go through 4 questions, which is like, what's your timeline? What's your budget? Are you pre-approved? And there's 2 or 3 questions for each one of those. So, are you pre-approved? It says, are you working with a lender, or, have you consulted with a Texas lender? Do you have a pre-approval? Are you paying cash? So there's like a couple of questions in each question, but otherwise, so we kind of get that. And then once they come into the CRM, if they call us or if they went through the Zoom or to schedule a Zoom, then we have that survey completed. If they text or email, we don't. But if they email, they'll typically give us quite a bit of that information in their email. They're very forthright, right? They come out with a lot of information on email. Usually, text is usually, "Hey, I'm looking to buy a home," And then if they text, we have their number, so our team will just call them. Usually instead of even replying to the text, we'll just call them, and they'll usually just answer and say, "Oh, hey. Oh, I wasn't expecting you to call me." And so that's one way. If they email, it depends on if they include their phone number, we're going to call them. If they didn't include their phone number, we're going to politely 50% answer their question and 50% say, "Hey, I would love to discuss this with you over the phone. Can I get your number so we can chat?" So that if they send us an email and they don't include their phone number, the goal is to get the phone number. If they text us, the goal is to call them. And then once we call them, we even want to try to get them on a Zoom after that. If they call us, then of course we have a conversation, and then we'll schedule a follow-up Zoom with them. But we want to have a conversation with them as soon as possible. So texters and emailers, our goal is to get them on the phone or to a Zoom quickly. So if that's what you mean by the buyer process, I would assume then that's what we do. Really, just kind of filter them through that process. Does that make sense? Let me know.
And you usually ask for a pre-approval letter via email at some point too, and that's kind of a big point too, is making sure you guys have access to that before you actually take people out to see houses.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, there's, if they say they're working with a lender already, then, in our conversation, we're going to say, okay, is that a Texas lender, a local lender? Is it somebody back in your state? Is it with a big bank? Because we know big banks are usually big problems. you can't get a hold of them on nights or weekends. You call in and get a different person it's just, all kinds of things. So then we refer them to our lender, which we always do regardless. And when I say our lender, I mean our preferred lender. So we don't force anybody to do anything. We just highly recommend to get a second opinion through our lender and talk through it that way with them. So, so hopefully that helps out. Let me know if you need any further clarification on that, Sterling. Living in Denton, Texas. Andy.
Yeah, I answered this one.
Okay, gotcha. All right, cool.
Yeah, we did Twin Cities, Minnesota. That one we answered as well.
Okay. Missy says, is there something we can do with lighting? Oh, and if you're referring to your glasses, not that I know of. I think you just need anti-reflective. What are they called? Anti-reflective or glare-free?
Yeah, anti-reflective is usually what I hear when I go get glasses.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything you can do other than turn off your lights.
Yeah.
You have to turn off your lights to do that. Let's see. What are the usual reasons a YouTube lead doesn't work out? Do leads just stop responding to your team? Do you have buyer's agent agreement? Okay. I mean, I think people are people. So that's number one. I mean, when you look at our overall conversion last year, it was right at 9%, which I think is pretty good. If you're going to buy leads, most of that conversion rate's around 1 to maybe, 3% at the highest. It's pretty low. Most of that stuff is 1%. But all kinds of things change. People decide not to move. We've gotten reasons for restrictions have let up. Schools are not going to require certain types of things in people's arms, all kinds of stuff. Their company doesn't want them to work remote anymore. As far as relocation goes, there's a lot of things. Yeah. People disappear. We've had people that were like, oh, I didn't hear from you within 10 minutes. So I called another agent, you got those people sometimes. So, it's every reason under the sun, but when you look at it, we're closing 1 out of 10 deals, which is not bad. I would rather talk to 10 people and get 1 deal than talk to 100 people and get 1 deal. So conversion hovers around, 8, 9, 10% for us, which means we're losing 9 out of 10 people. And I say losing, it just means they're not moving right now. And sometimes people are like, look, I'm going to wait 6 months. I'm going to rent for a year. There's all kinds of stuff, but we got a lot of people coming back around now, coming out of rentals and things like that. So it's a lot. There's so many different reasons. So just because they come in from YouTube doesn't mean they're 100% dedicated and they're going to work with you. It's just, it's a higher likelihood and they're a lot more fun to work with. So let's see here. Michael, let's see. Love for you to review the channel. Okay. I've got a hard stop. Actually, I've got to get to a podcast, on-set podcast here in Dallas. So I won't have time. Maybe next week, Michael, we can take a look at that.
Yeah, make sure you're posting those in the Facebook group before the event, because that way we can do that at the very beginning. We usually ask people to do it there just because if we see this towards the end, we usually run out of time and can't do it. So yeah, just go ahead and pop that in, pop your reviews into the Facebook group or in school, and we'll be able to get those up ahead of time.
Yep. Oh, Caitlin. What's up, Caitlin? Thank you. See, I like that. I like to know who we're chatting with. So thank you, Caitlin. Good to speak with you. It's a service that you upload videos and use a green screen. Okay. That's what she was talking about. Big View, I think, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and has a teleprompter. Gotcha. Okay. Hey, if you got a good way, like I said, newscasters can use teleprompters very effectively, but also, somebody else is writing that script. That's where I want to be the newscaster. I want to be the newscaster that sits in my desk and I have a stack of, oh, here's the videos to shoot. Okay, cool. But I want to do that, with somebody, because I want also creative input on that. I want to talk about what do we want to do in the future. I don't want somebody to just hand me a stack and then I'm like, okay, I got to do this. I want to release cities and suburbs and things like that strategically. So they need that guidance on it. And then also, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to film it and be done. Otherwise, there's still some things I'm still working on back and forth, which I just want to relieve that. So, Mr. Malcolm, wow, look at that. look at that expression. That looks like a good thumbnail right there. Definitely a good market crashing video or something. What method do you use to get relevant content for the market? MLS. You can use MLS. You can use your local board, your local MLS board. I mean, Dallas, I'm subscribed. If you subscribe to your local newspapers and stuff, for me, I think like Dallas Morning News, I think I pay $1 a week. So $4 a month. And I get all the, and I pick Dallas real estate. So Dallas real estate articles from the Dallas Morning News, which is almost every day right now, get sent to my inbox. So to me, that's worth a $4 a month subscription. Otherwise, Dallas Morning News is not going to let me read those articles. I can read the headline and then it won't let me go past that. So I would say subscribe to your local city newspaper, first of all, and that'll give you, on our live stream last night, I pulled up 4 or 5 different articles, and I show all the information that's coming out in Dallas. What I've been showing is that, if you click onto YouTube right now, every, thumbnail is about houses on fire and houses sinking in the ocean and the market's crashing. And I'm going, but you look at all the news and the articles in Dallas, we're having record, relocation. We're having record job growth. We're having a booming economy. We're having record commercial construction. So when you're building a ton of commercial, guess what comes to follow? Jobs, housing, all of that. Strong economy. Dallas was the #1 commercial construction city last year in 2022. It beat out New York and LA. That's crazy. That's how much, and that's why. And a lot of it is probably because companies are relocating from those areas as well. And they're building new headquarters, like Goldman Sachs building a new 5,000 employee headquarters downtown Dallas. That's a big deal. Caterpillar moved 1,000 people here. Hewlett Packard, Tesla's like taking over Austin now, but Dallas that's why I like Dallas. It's a sleeper city. It's just steady Eddie, good growth, good economy, good people, not so crazy on the politics, even though they do lean to one side, which pretty much every city does. They're still conservative, which is why I like it. Where Austin, Austin was allowing a lot of Californian things to happen in Austin. And Dallas just doesn't do that. Dallas is it's very well. It's very well done. I that's why I just like it. So that's where I get relevant content. I think did we answer this? What editing software?
Yeah, Premiere Pro. Adobe Premiere Pro on that.
Gwyneth says confidence in key. Yeah, we got to get Gwyneth on here, right?
For sure, we got to have you on here, Gwyneth.
Gwyneth, I don't know. Let me know. Do you want to be on here next week? We got to talk about that. Make sure she's comfortable. She likes to chat it up.
Hey, yeah.
What's your favorite real estate marketing event and why? Well, if you're talking about conferences, I don't know. We've been going to this Cabo conference every year. It's a pretty good venue. If you're going to go to a conference, that's a place. We just got back from Hawaii. I got to speak in Hawaii, in Maui. Amazing. I'm just not really a Hawaii guy. It's a long trip. It's very expensive there. The hotel was not all inclusive. The hotel was like, I think it was $600 a night. Now, clearly we wrote all of that off, but then you go to dinner and drinks and man, it was a lot, to go there. beautiful. We drove the entire Maui Island, the whole perimeter. And I tell you what, that was some scary stuff. The road, it's unbelievable. I mean, like no guardrails, straight cliff drops.
I remember that being a very scary drive. I was so nauseous when we did that.
Yeah, well, we did half of it with a guide, like he took us in this Ford Expedition with big ass tires on it. It was a 12-hour day. Like we went waterfall. Yeah, we went waterfall jumping. We stopped at all the little local roadside restaurant, waterfalls, I mean, I had a blast. 12 hours, and we did half of it. And I did the other half when we were going back to the island. I drove that, and I was on edge. I tell you what,
you're right on the cliff edge the whole time.
Oh yeah, and you go up and down, and it's like you're like 1 minute you're kind of like at the ocean, the next minute you're going, holy cow, I'm like, yeah, I asked the guide, I'm like, how many people? And he's like, yeah, oh yeah. He goes, we lose like 12 people a year, like once a month. I'm like, yeah.
We did that one in a convertible when we did it, and that was pretty spectacular, but it was really scary because especially when you don't have walls on either side of you, you really see the edge of the cliff.
Well, we had a convertible too, and it was,
it was very scary.
But otherwise, real estate marketing event. I like the video events. I like Grow with Video conference. We just went to Ryan Pineda's conference. I thought that was really good. Really Ryan Pineda's event. It was the Tykes conference, and next we're going to WealthCon for Ryan Pineda. Tykes conference, I mean, it was real estate, content, NFTs. I mean, it was very well rounded. I thought it was and the event was very well done in one room. I hate conferences with breakout rooms because you get torn. It's like, oh, I'm going to go see this and I'm going to miss this other one. And you're running all over the place, back and forth. I like it. Like Pineda had, 1,000 people in one room, and all the speakers come to that one room. And to me, that's a good size. But I mean, when you get in the 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 person range, you have to do breakouts. I mean, you don't have to, actually. You could do everything from stage, but I would just, I know why they do that, but it's all right. But, so I thought Ryan Pineda's, he's putting on some good events. Sean Cannell with Grow with Video. I thought that was a really great event, but that was a video event. But Pineda's real estate, content, and blockchain NFTs. I mean, that's very well rounded. All right, we gotta run through this. Oh yeah, yep. I agree. Oh, suburbs. Carla, what's up, Carla? There we go. We're getting some names now. Carla, good to see you. Yep. Jason, what's going on, Jason? Do you need separate email account to set up your new channel if you plan to sell the company later? Well, it's going to be attached to no, you can transfer ownership. I mean, that doesn't really have anything to do with your Gmail account. And so it's the email that's in your description. So that shouldn't matter. Just make sure you set up a brand account. You have to have a brand account. What is the name of the editing software you recommend? And do you guys offer a service? Yes. Passiveprospecting.com. You can go on there and check out our video editing services. Are you sending leads to a lender? Are they ready to go, or how are you working through this? Yes, we send everything to our lender to get pre-approved. And I'm going to run through this. Sorry, guys. I've got a hard stop, so I've got to. Must be from California. Will Texans welcome me in? I'm not a commie. Yeah, I mean, as long as you don't, the saying here is don't California my Texas, as long as you come here and you want to be a Texan. Let's see, paid for 8 videos. Michael, do we know Michael?
Yeah, Michael, I think that you have 2 ready for you to review, actually, on your board. Double check your board. And if you don't see them there, let me know, because I saw them this morning get thrown into your ready to review column.
There you go.
I think Gabby's been trying to talk to you today, so just double check your board.
All right. So, yep. And we'll be on it. So yeah, check your board, make sure everything's in there. I know that we, I don't know why. Is it, I know a lot of people kind of miss things ready to review. Do they get tagged on an email or anything?
Yeah, they should be receiving multiple emails for each one. So if your notifications aren't working, there is a section where you can adjust how often you get notifications, but anytime we tag you or put something that's assigned to you in the column, then it should send you at least one. It'll send you 2 emails. So.
Okay. So there you go. There you go, Michael. We'll get you taken care of. No worries. Mr. How did you come across Teresa and Sheila and Consortia, and how did you like using certified listings? That's a whole nother conversation. We have a podcast episode on that. Actually, about 2 or 3 episodes ago, we did a podcast on that. It's also a video on our channel. But I spoke at an event in Puerto Rico. So and Sheila was in the audience. And as soon as I came off a stage, she was like, "You got to help us." she's like, "You've been what we're looking for, you know." So that's it, and we just started chatting from there, and developed a relationship. And so, yep, that's how we met them. And of course, Sheila introduced us to Teresa. So Sheila's the COO, and Teresa's the CEO. So, all right, living in South. Love that you're doing the audiobook yourself. Thank you, appreciate that. Which channel do you recommend to watch Premiere Pro?
Man, I learned by, doing some in-depth tutorials from like 12 different channels. I couldn't tell you one. I didn't really follow like one particular video. I also learned from other people who I knew that were doing it too. So I don't really have a recommendation off the top of my head, but I usually learned by finding a problem that I couldn't fix myself and finding a tutorial on it. So it was a lot of mod podging of different tutorials together when I first learned how to do it. Yeah, Premiere Pro, they have their own tutorials too. I mean, you can go to the learning, the Learning Suite, Adobe Creative Suite, and they've got tons of tutorials on how to use it.
Yeah, and then I would just YouTube Premiere Pro tutorial, something like that. I'm sure you'll get plenty pop up.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yep. Is it Haley or Hallie?
Oh, Hallie. Yeah.
Yeah, Hallie. That's what I thought. Okay. All right. Flip Queen says, thank you. I'm not sure what I answered. Flip Queen, but you guys are great. Thank you. Okay. Michael says he did. And he said he's ready to optimize. And
okay. Yeah, those usually go out in the evening. So that one's probably getting ready to go.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Well, not just me, but Krissy too. Krissy's here to help. So, and just know too that we're bringing on, we have Gwyneth, of course, but Gwyneth is kind of overseeing 2 of our companies right now. We're bringing on a client care manager just for the editing side as well, just for this exact reason, just to make sure there's eyes on both sides. So that way, if the editor is missing something, they can keep an eye on that. If the client is missing something, sometimes the client doesn't see everything. And so they can notify that client, give them a little nudge and say, hey, you've got videos ready to go. And then vice versa. If they see a client reaching out to an editor's not being responsive, does happen. I think we just had to let go somebody last week, right?
Yeah.
Just based on responsiveness and not meeting task. I mean, we work with a good sized team, and it happens. The thing is it just happens. And when somebody drops off or doesn't meet their standard or our standard, then that puts us a little bit in a pinch. We got somebody to take their back, but at the same time, it's just we try to stay on top of it. But that's why we're bringing on a client care manager just for that. Yeah. So hopefully we can prevent any of that, or they'll keep an eye on the editors as well. And so if we have any editors starting to fall behind, we can catch that sooner rather than later. Yep. So, and we'll end with this one. Mark Willon, is that how you'd say that? Mark Willon? I don't know. I'll go with
I would butcher that. You probably did a better job than I would have.
Mark Willon. Mark, I'll try that. So anyways, March 7th. Yes. I've got a hard stop. I've got to get to a podcast here in Dallas, which is pretty cool, but passive prospecting out March 7th. Look at this, 227 pages. I mean, I'm very, very proud of this. And I think it's going to be a game changer. I know it's going to help a lot of people. So we're really excited about that. March 7th, we'll be doing a ton of giveaways in our Facebook group. So check out, search Passive Prospecting. You should be able to find our Facebook group. And we will see you there. See you next week. Talk soon.
Thanks, guys. Bye.